Okay, Ari is coming, so we can wait 1 minute so he can join, and then we start. Thanks. Here. Hello, Ari. Can you hear us? Ari, can you hear us? Okay. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Hello. Great.
Hi.
Okay,
Sorry.
great.
I was saying I went to the WebEx meeting, the internal one that we use instead of this one. That's why I was late. I realized why. I was wondering why no one was connected, and well, that explained things.
Okay, no problem. Thank you for joining. Okay, great. Okay,
Hello.
I think we could start.
Mm-hmm.
Great. So welcome to the IETF role interim. Notice that this session is being recorded. And this session is aligned with the note wells, so please read carefully. And as you know, we expect, as always, respect to each other, and that we follow the guidelines and the policies of the IETF on this matter. So first of all, I want to welcome Aris as a role co-chair. Aris, do you want to introduce yourself a bit?
Yeah, sure. So
Thank
hello everyone. I'm starting my official responsibilities. It's been a little bit of time, but this is the first meeting where I'm participating in this capacity. So my name is Remus Aris Koutsiamanis. I'm associate professor at IMT Atlantique in France. It's an engineering school. My background has been in research in the industrial IoT world, evidently, given the background of the working group as well. It's been something like 5 or 6 years since I first started participating in the IETF. And well, this is where I start in this role. So I don't know if that covers it.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Aris. We are very happy to have you here. And once again, big thanks to Dominic for the amazing job. We are very grateful, Dominic.
Thank you, Ines. Thank you. It was a pleasure and an honor to serve the group.
Thank you very much.
And I think we will continue having you as a co-author of the draft and with reviews and everything. So we will have Dominic still with us. So that is great. Okay, these are the resource remote participation ones. Please, volunteers to the minute takers. Yep. So this is the agenda. I don't know why it's not. The agenda. So we will go for the introduction. Then Conrad will explain the advance of RNFT. Then we will mention the new version of today of enrollment priority. Then discuss MOPEX and finally NSA extensions. And then we'll open floor for everyone. Then are the draft status. Audebe Ripple is in AD evaluation. DAO projection was submitted to the ISG. NSA extensions is in progress. Aris will explain more today. And the enrollment priority has a new version today. Michael can provide more information. MOPEX, Dominique will discuss about it. It's in progress. And the RNFT, we have a new version that we can discuss about working group last call. And then some drafts are waiting for attention, just like capabilities and storing root arc. Okay, the milestones are the same. So they have not changed since the update about this year. About the issues in GitHub, MOPEX have 2 issues. RNFT, we believe that the version 3 address all the open issues. NSA extension has 2 open issues, and the normal priority, we believe that the version 11 address all these issues. Then for the regular meetings, we were thinking when we should have the next interim, maybe September. And for the IETF, next IETF, we think we will not participate, but we aim to participate in the November one. Yeah, so we will do a doodle for probably September, because I think July and August is vacation months. So September, I think, will be the best. Yeah, so Conrad, I will pass the control of the slides.
Okay, great.
Now you should have the control of the slides.
Yes, I do. Let me just zoom to the full screen. Okay, so welcome everybody. I have like 25 minutes reserved. I hope I will make it faster, but let's see. So about the RNFD draft. So since there's been a while from the last presentation of the draft, I will start with a small recap. What RNFD actually is. It states for it is actually about fast border router detection in REPL, ALBR failure detection in REPL. So why consider ALBR crashes in the first place? So you probably know that ALBR has this special role. It acts as a DODAC root, and it coordinates many actions. So this means that it is also more involved because of that. So its logic contains additional actions compared to, for instance, resource constraint nodes. So this also means that its hardware is also more involved, and the software running on it is more involved. And it requires a tether power supply. In many deployments, this power supply is hard to back up, so provision like a redundant power supply and so on. So in short, LBRs can be subject to failures, to crashes, and we should consider them. So what happens in REPL? So without RNFD, if the LBR crashes, so if the DODAC root crashes. So first of all, when a DODAC root crashes, this means that all links to the DODAC root actually become down, so they go down. And in REPL, like this failure detection is done per link, so you detect failures to your, for instance, of the links to your neighbors. And in principle, this means that in order for a DODAC root to be considered as that, actually all its incoming links have to be detected as down. If there is a root's neighbor that still believes that its link to the dead root is up, then it would advertise a path, and this would create like problems in the DODAC. So this path is of course non-existent, but the advertisement would be still there. The next problem is that crash detection for the links is typically reactive. So this means that it may take some time to actually observe that a link is dead, especially in low data rate applications. And learning that by all nodes, so not only like a specific neighbor of the root or just all root's neighbors, that the root is down, is also slow and requires some traffic. So first of all, when the network detects subsequent links with the root as down, then the nodes will try to locally rebuild that paths, advertise new paths, and so on. So this will lead to repeated parent changes in the DODAC. Those parent changes, of course, won't lead to anything. So what will happen is typically some loops will be formed because of the inconsistencies in nodes ranks. And all parent changes, especially ones that lead to significant rank changes, trigger trickle timer resets. So this means that a lot of control traffic may actually be triggered because of those parent changes. So the idea behind RNFD is addressing those problems by explicitly coordinating monitoring of an LBR between nodes. So that's the first principle. The next one is we want to avoid probing all links. So if there are sufficiently many links that we believe may indicate that the root is dead, then we actually stop probing any extra links. We proactively check for a possible crash when we suspect that the root might have crashed. And then an important goal was also that RNFD should be as independent of Ripple as possible. So this means that it shouldn't require any changes to the protocol. So it should like operate sort of in parallel and just trigger Ripple or affect Ripple only when it has made some decision. So how it works in a nutshell, so it divides nodes into two groups, so sentinel nodes and acceptor nodes. Sentinels are Dodak root's neighbors that monitor, that are explicitly designated to monitor the root status. So there are typically multiple of them, but not every neighbor of the root node has to be a sentinel. Some nodes need not be sentinels, others can. Acceptors are any other node. So in particular, the Dodak root is also an acceptor. So the role of the acceptors is just to propagate observations in the network and potentially make a decision. So for instance, if the sentinels are not connected, so they don't form a connected graph, but the entire network is somehow connected, then the acceptors will be able to make the final decision. So how those roles map to the algorithm, again, in a huge nutshell. So individual sentinel nodes detect crashes of their links with the Dodak root. So using the normal mechanisms, Ripple's mechanisms, they detect that this specific link to the Dodak root is actually down. And they exchange this information in a new option that RNFD introduces. This option is appended to DIO messages or DIS messages. And just link local messages. So this option carries the, let's say, number of sentinels that believe that the root may be dead or actually consider their links with the root to be dead. And based on this number, any node, so in principle, a sentinel, but also an acceptor, can make a decision that the number of sentinels that consider that the root as dead is sufficient to actually decide that the root is dead. So to make a global decision and propagate this decision. So this is sort of like a consensus-like protocol. So the draft had a couple of versions. So the previous version was 0.2, and it was subject to 4 reviews by SVR Anand. You can take a look at this review on the mailing list, and it was submitted on November 16th, 2023, by Carls, and it was also in November 27th, this time by Victoria. This was from routing directory, and it's on the mailing list, but also in data tracker, and also by Chris Londvik from security directorate, and it was like on the 2nd of December. So it took me a while to actually address those comments. So first of all, before talking what I did, so big thanks to all the people that did the reviews. So they were really in depth and well, thought-provoking in some places. So I really had a nice time actually thinking about the issues raised and the problems. So big thanks to the reviewers. So I've addressed the comments on the mailing list on the 20th of March this year. And those actually replies were also connected to a new draft version. So it updated from version, so the draft updated from version 2 to version 3. You can take a look at the changes from the link I've prepared from this diff tool. So there are multiple changes. A lot of them are editorial changes, and I believe that they really improved the readability of the draft and also the ordering and stuff. So definitely, even the editorial changes were really necessary. But there were also a couple of bigger changes that I would like to highlight today. So one is that forgive me, but I don't remember now who proposed this specific change. I will just go over the changes. So one thing that was proposed is that it would be good to actually provide some alternative solutions. So for instance, if so RNFD is like an opt-in protocol, so you can either implement it or not. But the problem of border router crashes is more general. So one suggestion was that we could consider in the draft some other solutions to alleviate the problem, and this is done in the new section 1.3, which briefly discusses other solutions that they are discussed a bit more depth in the email. Another issue was with check. Another issue was with false positives and what you can do to avoid false positives, like, for instance, switching the decisions. And then the suggestion was that we can mention some additional mechanisms for increasing the confidence of individual decisions. So when we are in this verification phase of RNFD, so it's like a special phase in which a node may actually decide to verify whether its suspicion is valid or not, then we can increase the confidence of these mechanisms, or if those transitions do happen, for instance, because the link is sort of unpredictable, then we can limit the number of transitions per node. So from some point in time, Sentinel will no longer consider itself Sentinel because simply its link with the root is too unstable, and that's it. So basically that's what this paragraph is about. The next change was, so this was like a discussion of some rules that what happens when we change the bit length of CFRCs, and there is like an entire algorithm. There are like a number of rules, but these rules may not be actually straightforward to merge together. So this extra paragraph actually explains what happens at the root node. So how do these rules affect the root node? So this is simply a merge of the previous rules into a paragraph, so that you have like an explicitly stated what a root node does according to those rules. And then the last larger change was extracting like a single threshold, which is this last threshold in the new version, so RNFD CFRC saturation threshold. So previously it was like a magic number, let's say. Currently it was extracted as a threshold, and then I also changed the order of those constants. So in my opinion, to better let's say reflect their not maybe importance but relevance or whatever. Yeah, so these were the major changes. So we got replies, and Ines can correct me if I'm wrong, from Anand and from Carls on May 14th this year, that changes and my replies address their remarks. There is one small remark from Carlos to address. I will do this in the next version, so 0.04. So this regards the threshold, this suspicion growth threshold, so the middle one in version 3, which is why this specific number. So I will just add one sentence. And I think that's it. So the question is what to do next. And I can now return control to Ines, or she can take back control.
Okay, thank you very much, Konrad. Thank you very much for addressing all the comments and for the presentation. And yes, the comments from Carles you can address alongside the comments with from the working group last call, so no problem. And I think we can proceed with the working group last call based on that we have had 2 reviews and the routing and security directory reviews. So I think the document is ready for the working group last call. Some additional comments from the participants? Okay, then we can start by email today the working group last call and for 2 weeks. And the shepherd, Michael, it's okay to be the shepherd, right?
Yep, I think I finished it already.
Oh,
I think
okay.
we did it a while ago. I will review to see if it needs updates, but I thought I did it a while ago.
Okay, great.
Yeah, a year 2023 3/18. I will revise it.
Yeah.
Or I'll read it, see if it needs revision.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Okay, great. Thank you very much. Yes, you're right. Okay, we can proceed with the enrollment priority. Michael, do you want to give some comments? I see that you, yes.
Sure. So I didn't do any slides or anything. So I went through the 2 outstanding reviews, one from Dave Thaler at the end of March and one from Rifat at the end of January. There's 2 emails to the list. There's a version 11 posted. It's not that dramatic, but it's lots of little nits. So that's good. And I think it's ready for working group last call.
Thank you very much, Michael. I agree with you. I think this document is ready for working group labs call. And we have got the routines directorate and security directorate. We have got review from Dave Taylor. And yeah, and we will get some other reviews as well. But I think after RNFD, we can proceed with this document as a working group last call. Some additional comments or questions for participants?
I think I promised to take a look as well on my side, but I haven't managed to do it. I might be able to do it the next 2 days. So if there's something I find, I'll let you know. But normally we can progress with the last call.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, we can proceed with the next MOPEX. Dominique?
Okay, so we have been working on this draft for a long time. It's been quite silent for a while. I think the last Alvaro provided a great review probably a year back, and I think it was taken into account. And in November, I think I suggested to rewrite a section that deals with what do we do when we reuse the same old values 0 to 6 that are already been used for MOP, the mode of operation, into the new field MOP extension MOPEX. And so originally the text said that when we reuse the same old values, it means the same old modes, except with an improved behavior, with some options being made mandatory. And that was not quite clear for a specification because it didn't say exactly what was the options that were made mandatory or anything like that. So I suggested to reword that, saying we preserve the values 0 to 6 within MOPEX. We don't say quite specifically what to do. We just say that they relate to the old ones, and the new behavior for these values will be specified somewhere in the future, but we have the values reserved for that. And so basically, using the old values within MOPEX as opposed to within MOP, added one bit of information saying this is a new flavor of the old mode. And then Pascal came and said in an email a month ago, 2 months ago, said, well, this is not making a good use of the bits that are available, because we can still use the old mob for 0 to 6, telling which mode we are talking about. And then we have the MOPEX field, the existence of a MOPEX field, which is a flag. And then we have the full content of the MOPEX field to provide more information that we can make good use of, like having version numbers for the old mode. So we the old map with the old value would be the legacy mode of operation, and then if we have MOPEX together with MAP, then it means something more, and it could be V0, V1, V2, V3 of the old mode. So that's interesting in terms of information theory. Of course, it's making good use of the bits that we have available, but slightly skeptical. I think it's getting very intricate, and I'm not sure we need it. So I was hoping Pascal would attend the meeting, and maybe I'm curious to hear your opinion about this. Was my explanation clear enough, or do I need to clarify?
Thank you, Dominique. I remember the email. I checked the email. It wasn't 8 April, but I didn't understood very well what Pascal means. Like, how can you use MOPEX as a version number for existing MOP values? I don't understand that part.
Right. So this is what I understood from Pascal's email, and this is what I tried to explain in the last 2 or 3 minutes.
So the idea is that the numbers that we have in the MOP right now are extended if you put them in a MOPX. So MOPX number 3 is not the same as MOP 3, I think is his point.
I think his point goes even further than that. He says if we have MOP 3 and the existence of the MOPEX field, then MOPEX could be a different thing and could be the version of MOP 3. This is how I read this sentence.
Yeah, that's even more.
Yeah, that sounds a bit complicated for me. I would guess if you're in the old world, in the legacy, they work as they are, and if you have the flag activated, then it can be completely new. I don't see, but I'm not super familiar, so.
The thing is, the way it's described right now, if say you have 2 different values in MOP and MOPEX, then you have to specify what happens. And what Pascal says, instead of resolving conflicts, just exploit the added information containers that you have. At least that's my interpretation of this sentence.
So how would you know if how to parse the packets?
Well,
is it always unambiguous whether you are in the new or the old?
The thing is, the MOPEX extension is an option. It's either there or not there. But you're right. Maybe if we have the old MOP and the parser doesn't know of the new option, does it create an ambiguity? Maybe.
So yes, you can just say that the whole network is aware of the extensions, and in that case it's simple. Or you can say that everything is unaware of the new things, and it will just operate in the old one. But I guess the idea is to be able to shift bit by bit, not the whole network at the same time.
I'm not sure that's the point. I think the point is using the old modes in an improved behavior by, removing some of the unnecessary, never implemented stuff of Ripple, or mandating some stuff that was added later and is considered optional. That was a sentence that is in the draft right now. It says if we use the same old value for within MOPEX as a new mode, then it is supposed to be the same mode of operation, storing, non-storing, etc., but with different behavior or augmented behavior, which was vague, and that's the reason why I started rewriting that part.
Okay.
Okay, well, I think we'll just ask Pascal on the mailing list if he wants to elaborate on this remark.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah. Thank you very much, Dominique.
Sure.
Okay, then when we have the new version, we can proceed with the reviews, at least 2 reviewers, and then with the routing and security directory reviews. And then
Well, we do have a new version right now. The question is whether we want to do even better with Pascal's ideas, or we just dismiss them. So let's give a chance. Let's give Pascal a chance to elaborate and see.
Yes, I agree. Yes, we need to work on this. What his comment on 8 April, and then proceed. Yes.
So yes, if there is a better way to do it, why not? But if we can keep it simple, it will be ideal.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I agree to keep it simple, but it would be nice to understand what Pascal means, because I think he said that now is the contradicted values based in the email. So yeah, but I agree to keep it simple. But it will be nice not to that the MOP and MOPEX, they don't contradict each other. So yeah, let's see what Pascal says. I think yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Further comments or questions? Okay. Then NSA extension. Aris?
Just a sec. I'm writing my last comment. Okay. So I'm taking off my co-chair hat and taking on my draft writer hat and putting on my draft writer hat. So the draft has been in the works for some time now. I haven't been able to advance very quickly. We have some feedback. There's just a couple of issues to resolve, but one of them is a bit bigger. That's why it's taken a bit of time. So the main thing that's been slowing things down is the proposal that came from Pascal initially to try to rewrite the draft and make it more generic. So the draft proposes a way of basically doing routing in a way which has higher reliability. But in defining the draft, we basically extend Mr. Hoff. So we take existing functionality that is proposed in Mr. Hoff, and we say basically in these cases we do whatever Mr. Hoff does. It's a way of avoiding repetition. However, after some discussion, and this was a proposal from Pascal, it turns out that it might be possible to extract this dependency on Mr. Hoff and make it more generic. In this sense, it would be able to define it as an orthogonal proposal to all possible objective functions. It would be an add-on that someone can enable on any objective function which follows the specification of an objective function. So in that sense, it would be more modular. This requires a little bit of thinking. I had promised to do it earlier, but I didn't manage to finish it. So the idea is that I will propose a different version. Normally, it should be much shorter as well, which implements this. And if this is reasonable, we can keep that. Otherwise, we'll keep the dependency on Mr. Hoff, depending on whether it looks as this can be done in this more generic way. So yes, this is the status right now.
Great. Thank you very much, Alice. Comments? Okay. Thank you. Then, open floor. Additional comments or questions? Okay. Then, thank you very much for attending, and we keep communications by email.
Thank you.
Have a nice day.
Have a nice day. Bye.
Thank you very much,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much to people that write in the minutes as well. Thank you very much on that.
I'll keep polishing them just another few minutes.